Good morning, my name is Rossana Mendivil and my team and I are experimenting with the effect of different colored lights on the growth of bean plants. My teammates are José Luis Fernández, Karim Delgado, Karen Navarro, and Paula Uribarren. The problem. The BBC states that every 10 seconds a child dies from hunger. Also, malnutrition is a big issue that affects humanity, and as every minute passes, more people are suffering the consequences. So the problem we're trying to solve is hunger and malnutrition. To do that, we have to set some objectives. The general objective is to study the effect of different colored lights in bean plants, taking in consideration time and height of the growth. Second, we had to do specific objectives. First one was to build the colored light reflectors. Second one was to analyze the growth of plants depending on the light color. And third and final is to evaluate which colored light helps the bean plant grow more.
So according to Asgaripur, 300 million people depend on beans for a protein dietary source. And the Phaceolus vulgaris bean, which is the black bean that we will be testing, grows best where the sun's heat and light is able to reach the bean's root. According to the U.S. Dry Bean Council, the spring-summer estimates for 2018 were roughly around 859,000 beans produced in Mexico, and for the past year, 52% of these productions were shorter due to the high amount of bean production that was potentialized. Okay, so why is this important? Scientists are developing advanced technologies to help potentialize the agriculture production for vegetable crops. And the earth faces many challenges when having to deal with more crop production, the use of less fertilizers, higher quality production of food, and just safer ingredients in general. There are also more plant-based diets coming in every day due to people who eliminate completely the animal protein source and are just focusing on getting their protein and minerals from vegetable-derived products. So plants need light as their primary energy source. However, the color of the light does impact how much energy the plant is absorbing. The Scientific Committee for Light Sensitivity has stated that light is an electromagnetic radiation. However, only a part of this radiation is seen to the human eye, to the visible eye. The rest is only available for plants. So each light color emits its specific wavelength. This is what makes colored light different from just natural white light. So the fact that color can be seen through wavelengths means that each individual color emits its specific wavelength, either short or long, depending on the amount of radiation, as it can be seen on the table of the pigment of the color.
Previous investigations about the effect of different wavelengths in plants show the following. First, that red, blue, and white light improve the growth of nutrition, appearance, and edible quality of lettuce plants. It also shows that the proliferation rate was greatest in rapeseed plants under blue LED light. It also showed that the starch concentrations were highest in rapeseed plantlets under red LED light. The proposed solution is boosting the production of vegetable goods with the information acquired from this investigation will increase the effectiveness of crops. This is taking into consideration the information acquired from the theoretical framework. The research question is, do different colored lights affect the growth of bean plants? The hypothesis is, bean plants that are grown under a blue light will be most effective compared with the other samples. They will grow faster and in abundance.
Materials. For this experiment, we used 36 wooden sticks, cotton wool, cellophane paper, red, green, and blue, 12 plastic cups of 100 milliliters, water, 60 seeds of Phallacius vulgaris, tape, 12 post-its, a Sharpie, a roulette online randomizer, and a number online randomizer. This type of research was experimental because it was randomized and controlled. Types of variables. The independent variable was the type of light that the plant was receiving, and the dependent variable was the growth of the plant exposed to that light. The independent variable was of modality. Experimental group. We have three experimental groups and one control group. The first group were 3 plants exposed to sunlight with a red filter. The other group was exposed to sunlight with a blue filter. The group number 3 was exposed to sunlight with a green filter. And control group was exposed to regular sunlight without any filter. The method or instructions for future tries in this experiment are: gather the materials, build the filters, then randomize the number pots to make this experiment random, randomize the filters in which each plant will be placed, place a cotton on the pot, then 5 beans per pot, then water the beans with 20 milliliters of water per cup. Then water the beans every 12 hours. A researcher without any knowledge of which plant is in which filter will measure the plants. In this case, Karim Delgado was the one who measured the plants, and Paula was in charge of taking out the filters. So when Karim arrived, he didn't see which plants were in which filter. Then we reported the results.
I will explain the results from this experiment of the bean plants. We divided the bean plants in 4 groups: the control group, the red light group, the blue light group, and a green light group. I will explain the average and some standard deviations about this, about the results of growth after 14 days of experiment. In the first group, the average of growth of the plants were about 2.66 centimeters. In the red light group, we had an average of 4.33 centimeters. In the case of the blue light group, we had an average of 5 centimeters. And in the case of the green light group, we had an average of 8.33 centimeters. And in this side of the table, we can see all the standard deviation of each group. Here are showed some of the graphs that we made. In the y-axis, we can see the height in centimeters of the plants, and in the x-axis, we have the label of each plant, so we can know how many centimeters each plant grows. The 4 tables represent the growth of every single plant of each group: the control group, the blue light group, the green light group, and the red light group. And here are the results of the second experiment. The only difference between this experiment and the other experiment and the first one is that we did it 1 day later, so they only have a day between themselves. Okay, so the control group showed a growth of 0.66 centimeters. In the case of the red light group, we had a growth of 5.66 centimeters. In the blue one, we had a growth of 1 centimeter. And in the case of the green light group, we had a growth of 2 centimeters. As well as the first table, here we can see the different standard deviations from each group. And in this case, we did again some of the graphs that represents the height, the growth in centimeters of each group: the control group, the red light group, the blue light group, and a green light group here. The difference between these two results is that in this case we had shorter plants. This is the difference between these results of the second experiment and the other result of the first experiment. The two of them were made during exactly 14 days. So here are our results, and here is our bibliography.